Lost Art with Andrew Cox, retired Marine Master Gunnery Sergeant. TheLostArt.podbean.com. Get some merchandise and help support the podcast and getting our veteran voices out for all to hear. Now on all major podcast platforms. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe. Be a guest. Tell your veteran story. Discuss your veteran business or organization. Email thelostartwithandrewcox@gmail.com. Andrew Cox, a Teal Valhalla Project Ambassador. See the project story at tealvalhallaproject.com. Thank you for tuning in. Please enjoy the podcast that's given a voice to our veterans, The Lost Art with Andrew Cox.
Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Lost Art Podcast, that podcast giving a voice to our veterans. I'm your host, Andrew Cox, and today we'll be having a My Veteran Story with Marine veteran Scott Grimmer. God bless your wife. That's 2 deployments back to back, and then pretty much another, 3-year deployment.
Yep. Yeah.
Wow.
That's what it was like. I can't tell you much about DI school except for check-in. I remember check-in, and it was crazy. So you do like a urinalysis when you check in, right? Because that's kind of a normal procedure, and you check in service alphas, the pickle suit with the tie and everything. And there was this guy that I'm not going to say who he was, but there was this guy that I had checked in with, and I remember him because we ended up in the same squad at DI school, and I checked out of 1st Marine Division with him, and he was a sniper. I don't remember what unit he was with, but we was checking in. We're in line. He's right in front of me, getting ready to do your analysis. They have him take his blouse off because you have to. You're supposed to, take your blouse off and stuff when you're doing your analysis. Takes his blouse off. He's a staff sergeant. Has sergeant chevrons on his long sleeve shirt.
Oh no!
And so they light him up. Oh my goodness, he was just getting torn up. And then I remember, man, I'm glad I'm not that guy. And then he takes his tie off and starts unbuttoning his shirt. And sure enough, he had a sniper green skivvy shirt on right underneath of his long sleeve shirt. And he got lit up again. Oh my goodness. I was just like, I'm glad I'm not that guy.
Yeah, no kidding. That's horrible, man.
Yeah.
It took the heat off of you, and so that's a positive. Yeah.
After DI school, I went straight to work with Kilo Company, and I did a 4th hat cycle, and that was my only 4th hat cycle, and it was interesting. But I don't remember a lot that happened except for some of the crazy things that I'd rather not share because they'd be incriminating to myself and other people.
Yeah.
I don't want to paint anybody in a negative light, but I just remember it was hard work. I had shin splints so bad. And I remember I was running around with shin splints, and I would walk funny. And one of the drill instructors that I worked with came up, and he was like, "Why are you walking like that?" And I was like, "I got shin splints." And he was like, "Stop it." And so I stopped walking, and I only ran, and I ran shin splints out. And eventually, I don't know how I did it, but the muscle grew right over top of my shin. And it's been like that ever since. And
wow.
I was like, oh man, that sucks. One of my buddies, he had the entire sole of his foot fall off our 1st cycle. Yeah. The whole thing fell off of his foot.
Oh my God.
Yep, I remember I lost all the toenails on both feet from just wearing, just running and wearing boots all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was hard work, but it was rewarding work. And I'd like to think that, in the time I was a drill instructor, that the discipline and uh, you know uh, education that the Marines that graduated while I was there that received paid dividends, but when they went to combat,
Yeah.
because when I went to be a drill sergeant, I would see stuff that other people would do, and I would think that's not really value added to like what these guys are going to do soon. These
Yeah.
guys are going to end up going to combat just like I did,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
within a thing, again and again and again. And
Mm-hmm.
I know that there's several of my recruits, just the ones I found out about, that died in combat or that were seriously injured in combat. And the thing is Marines is hard for a reason. And like you letting up on that like creates a culture of like a culture of weakness that doesn't give you that mental toughness and physical
Yeah.
toughness that's needed. And I really learned that. I thought that I knew that, but I really learned it when I was a first sergeant with an infantry company.
Mm-hmm.
But drill instructor duty, I did 8 cycles, and 7 of them were third hat cycles.
Whoa. Holy cow.
After my 8th cycle, my company first sergeant pulled me in and was like, "Hey, there's a McQuist course coming up," and he was like, "You want to go?" And I was like, "What's that?" And he was like, "Oh, well, you got to do this, that, and the other." And so the next day was swim qual. It was a Friday. I went there. I did swim qual 4-1 that day,
Wow.
and also did WSQ. And
So you obviously know how to swim well. I mean,
yeah,
you swim across the Euphrates. That's one thing, but yeah, you definitely swim well enough to be able to do all that in one day is pretty impressive.
yeah. And I was just thinking, I'm gonna end up doing another third hat cycle if I if I don't go to the shorts. And so, which I mean, if any of the other drill instructors know, like third hat cycle, like doing third hat cycle is rough, and I had became too good at it.
Yeah.
To the point where I was getting myself in a lot of trouble and stuff like that. But it's rough work, You see
Mm-hmm.
a lot of late nights, a lot of attention to detail, and that's what that is, Like not everybody you don't go home every night. And I remember like my last platoon of recruits I went home twice that entire
Yeah.
cycle. 2 times. That was about this. That was the same amount of times I went home when I was my first cycle. But it's not like I got the days off. I went home at night after lights at 2100, and then I came back for
Yeah.
more. And so like that's the level of work you're putting in, like sometimes 18, 20-hour days.
Oh yeah.
And I
Mm-hmm.
don't know how I didn't die driving my motorcycle from Escondido down to the depot. But like I know why some people wrecked their vehicles, because like they fell asleep at the wheel. It's super easy.
Oh. Oh yeah.
Fatigue, and it just required a extreme high level of physical fitness and endurance.
Mhm.
And so yeah, I went to McQuist course. I had a great time. I just if everybody don't know what the McQuist course is, it's the Marine Combat Instructor Water Survival School, which in 2010 changed to the Marine Corps Instructor Water Survival School. And when I went through, was at Coronado, and don't remember a lot of the course other than the fact that somewhere in the second week, so you like buddy up with people to do rescues, to
Mhm.
practice rescues. When we put we had like flax and full camis, boots, and Kevlar. And the day we put a Kevlar on, the guy that I was my swimming partner that I would train with. He swam water polo at some Boston university, and everybody knew he was a really good swimmer. He was he was a first lieutenant. I don't remember what unit he was with, but when we put that Kevlar on, I remember we was going through doing rescues, and all of a sudden he stopped, and he started freaking out. And then I started doing the rescue, and I pulled him to the side, and he gets out of the water and throws his Kevlar, and he was like, "I'm done with it." And he rang the bell and went out the door and never saw him again. And
Wow.
yeah, the rest of the day, the rest of the day, my training partner was one of the instructor trainers, and I didn't have a great time. Uh, but but it was okay. It ended up working out. I went to work at the swim tank, training recruits with water survival, and that happened all throughout the time. The Marine Corps order was changing for water
Mhm.
survival, and that's where I met Andrew,
That's
and
right.
the rest was history. No, while I was at the swim tank, I went to the Marine McMap instructor trainer course. I had
Yeah,
gone
yeah,
to
yeah.
the MAI course years before, in between my first and second deployment, and yeah, I went to that course and thought that I was going to be some hot shot. No, I didn't think that. I knew that it was going to be extremely challenging, and some people say that that is the most challenging course that there is in the Marine Corps. Without telling you details, because I'm not going to spill any details about it, you could probably find some videos and stuff on YouTube or something about what some of the course is about. When I went through, we fought every single day. We sparred every single day. I was the only person in that class of like 40 something that didn't break a bone.
Well, that's
Almost
what I was going to mention.
yeah,
Almost everyone that went to the course came back with something broken. I
yeah.
remember that.
I thought that I was pretty good, though. I mean, I had done a lot of wrestling. I had done a
Mhm.
lot of stand up. I had done a lot of like takedown defense. I knew a lot of stand up fighting martial arts with karate, taekwondo, and I had
Yeah.
been training in Muay Thai for quite some time during that time frame. And so I thought that, I mean, sparring wasn't a big deal, I guess, for me, but it was just very physically intensive. Um,
Yeah.
Somebody snapped their shin, like open fracture during the course. It was nasty.
Mm.
Um, and the instructor trainer that was my squad instructor trainer, uh, Not gonna like toot anybody's horn, but I mean, he is in the cage fighting Hall of Fame. He was an amateur cage fighter for years and went undefeated for years and years.
Wow.
And he had over like, I think it was like 40 something fights, and he had gone undefeated. The guy's an absolute legend. Everybody at the, knows that guy. But there's a lot of great individuals I met at that course, ran into a lot of them throughout the years. Great martial artists. I learned a lot at the course. And it was a skill set that I used throughout my time in the Marine Corps a lot, and throughout my time and the remainder of my career, I assisted or taught 21 martial arts instructor courses.
Wow.
And which ain't no bag of tea.
Yeah.
It's a lot of hard work, and
Oh, yeah.
it's a nasty course that not everybody's cut out to do, and
Mhm.
that's okay. But there are a few that can do it, and without talking trash or anything about that program and what it had become, irregardless of my recommendations. See, like a lot of policy in Marine Corps is written and influenced by the people that are at the schoolhouse at that time, and people at the top, and what's important to them. And I could tell you, like, that's not an important thing anymore. And so it hits the back burner on things. And unfortunately, like, it's not what it once was, because it is a great program that really instills a warrior mindset to individuals. And it gets warriors to think like warrior mindset. Everyone. This is why Marines are lethal, is because they get that in them. You don't really get that at the rifle range.
True. Yeah.
You don't get that at the rifle range. Like, that kill mentality comes from doing violent things, from practicing violence and being inoculated to that interpersonal violence. And it's really important. That's something that often gets forgotten about, especially in times of no conflict going on, and people forget about those things, and then they become soft. And you gotta stay hard, and that's one of the ways that you can stay hard, is getting out and fighting. Like, if the first time you got punched in the face was when you got in the Marine Corps, then you're probably not the person. Like, you got to be a violent individual, because Marines are warriors first and foremost. There is so many examples I could give of, pugs like me that freaking spent so many deployments doing things that were like combat oriented, or instilling that violence and that attitude is what, like, just gives Marines that edge that nobody else has, and that arrogance as well, and all the Marines know that. And go anywhere, you go to the VFW, and I'll tell all of them that the Marines is the best branch, and they all know it. There's no question, because if they want to dispute that fact, I'll go toe to toe with them. Right? So
very true. Yeah.
And but they know it, because that's the type of mentality Marines have. They're freaking pit bulls. They're bulldogs. They're violent creatures. And that's one of the things that drew me to the Marine Corps, that I loved about it so much, is it's like, if you're going to survive in a violent place, that's the kind of person that you want to be. And that edge has uh, kept me alive for years and years. And
Mhm.
like going out and doing bush stuff in Alaska, like that kind of stuff keeps me alive. Like
Yeah.
it's just you don't get that. I don't know if you get that anywhere else. But yeah, anyways, I spent a fair, I'll get moving along. I spent a fair amount of time as the maintenance chief, going back into the maintenance field after drill instructor duty. And
So hold on
man,
a second. Now, did you pick up staff sergeant while you were on the drill field?
yeah, the 2 months before I left, I picked up staff
Okay.
sergeant.
Okay,
Yep.
gotcha.
I left and had no clue what maintenance chief did because I just was used to turning wrenches. And so I had a crash course into figuring it out because I went to a shop with a master sergeant that really didn't want to do anything. He would stay in his office and drink coffee and not really do anything, not interact with anybody, not teach anybody anything. And so I was left to figure things out. And I also was with a chief warrant officer that spent all day in his office. And the time he wasn't in his office, he was at the golf course. And that's why he picked up CW 3, 4, and yeah, I don't know. He's probably like 5 now. That'd be,
Yeah,
but
probably.
yeah, but yeah, I just was left to figure it out. I went out within a short amount of time frame of being there. I got attached to CLB 4 and did a KITP with them. I went to Korea
Mm.
and I had a heck of a time there. Almost caused another international incident and led a patrol. Led a led a led a patrol that was a logistics patrol, bringing stuff to a range down the wrong road. And the next thing I know, I saw turning around, I saw a rock marine sprinting down the road, flailing his arms at me, and I was like, "Okay, stop!" And then I looked forward, and I could see the North the North Korean post a couple hundred meters up the road, getting out, trying to figure out what was going on. So we turned around. But yeah, that was the time I almost caused another international incident.
There seems to be a theme with you in international incidents. I don't know.
Yeah, yep. But the Canadians are really nice, or so I don't really have that problem here, and nobody looks at the border. Would go over the border right over these mountains over here. Yeah, you go
Yeah,
that way. If you, but I don't know how many miles it is. You go that way, miles. It's less than like it's probably less than 30. And that's the Canadian border, and a mountain
yeah,
range that is so austere they was not able to build a road across it,
yeah.
which is why Juneau is it's landlocked. It's like an island.
Hmm.
You can only take an airplane in here. You can only take a ferry here. You can't drive here. And so,
Wow.
yeah. Anyways, went to KITP and got deployed out to Afghanistan and did a massive amount of work out there fixing broken things, fixing other units' broken things. And luckily, I had a lot of great mechanics that I worked with that like were burned, turn and
Yeah.
burn, and we was all doing 16 to 18-hour days every day. I would go get them chow while they were all sleeping during lunchtime, and for the 30 minutes that we had, and so that they could work all the way up until their chow time. And
Hmm.
we would work day and night to make sure that patrols and supplies and missions could happen.
Yeah.
And I got the opportunity to post out for a couple of months and do contact team stuff and get attached to MARSOC while I was there, and
Nice.
went out in the middle of nowhere and ended up with I think it was Alpha Company, and had a great time out there with them. Did a lot of cool things. I don't know if I could even talk about those things, but there was a lot of cool stuff that happened. And and then I came back, and a month later we headed on back. We I can't think of it. There wasn't really a whole lot of significant in between the time when I left that unit. A couple years later, no, it wasn't even a couple of years. It was like maybe a year later. I didn't even spend a full year back. I got orders, and I went to Cherry Point and worked at Comm Squadron over at Cherry Point, right by the rifle range.
Yeah.
Never been to the air wing before.
Eye-opening.
So after going there, well, by the way, right before we went there, I was with one other great mechanic and maintenance chief at the time, who's now retired, Chief Warrant Officer Schumann, Fix It Mike. And both of us were staff sergeants at that unit, and we grinded. That year we got back and got the highest Phasmo East maintenance score in the Eastern region. And that was one reason why I went to Comm Squadron, because they had just failed a Phasmo. Which is like your maintenance inspection that gets reported to the commanding general, and commanders get fired over. So I went to that unit, and it was a dumpster fire. I went from being a maintenance chief for Motor T to also being the utilities maintenance chief. And so I did Motor T and utilities maintenance. I was there for just a little over a year and a half and stood a Phasmo, and we had a pretty good score. It was like a 95. It was really good. Yeah, we went
from failing to a 95. That's good, man.
Yeah, I turned that place around. And then I got orders to another unit that failed Phasmo. And so I went to the other Comm Squadron at Miramar, and got cut orders over to Miramar, and went to Miramar, spent 3 years at Miramar. Oh, that is a hidden gem in the Marine Corps. If you ever get the opportunity, it is a beautiful base. It is very different than anywhere else. But oh my goodness, it was a great time being over there. It was completely different than like Cherry Point, because Cherry Point kind of still had that like uptight Camp Lejeune like attitude at the time, where like people would get worked up and like correct people out in town for like not having their shirt tucked in and stuff. And so like it was not like that anymore, but I went there, worked at Miramar, and we was a year off. In the second year I was there, we stood Phasmo and ended up getting a 94 on Phasmo.
Nice.
And did really well. And I had a great time there, and met a lot of great Marines who are still in, and ended up getting cut orders. And this time I got to pick where I wanted to go.
Ooh.
Which was the only time I guess there was 2 times I got to pick, but the monitor asked me what I wanted. And I was like, I asked him where I could get sent. And he said, well, you could go to Hawaii. And so I was like,
Huh.
send me. So I went to 112 in Hawaii.
Okay.
Kings of Battle, 112
That's
artillery.
right.
My goodness. They had just failed a phase mount when I got there.
What in the world? That's
I
funny.
guess you don't know. The monitors keep track of your maintenance scores when you stand major inspections. Well, at least they did back then. And I went there. That was the worst unit I ever went to by far. The entire time of my career, it was a dumpster fire. There was so many heinous things happening, and I was losing my mind. Oh yeah. But yeah, I was just the most disgruntled gunnery sergeant that was around, and I
Hey,
was
real
super
quick,
belligerent.
when you said before, when you said, "Oh yeah," you started talking, it cut out. Can you say that part again? The
Oh,
last little bit.
I got promoted when I was got promoted to gunnery sergeant when I was at Miramar, and when I went over to 112 in Hawaii, I quickly became the most disgruntled gunnery sergeant around, and belligerent as well. But somehow everyone in the command took my belligerence and anger as I was like the guy that was trying to help and fix everything. And no
Yeah.
matter how angry I got, everybody would be, oh, okay, great. To the point where like the sergeant major and the CEO would just ask me questions, and I just had an open ear to them. And I'd be, well, this company's jacked up, and the company commander needs to do this, and the battalion commander would just be like, okay, yeah, and they would do it. But you know, about a year after I was there, we stood a phase mo, and I mean, we didn't do great, but we passed a phase
Yeah.
mo. And the it was, oh my goodness, I was so in depth with um trying to work while I was there. I didn't know that I was selected for promotion. And
Wow.
one day, my chief warrant officer comes up to me and he was like, "Hey, congratulations." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he was like, "What? You don't know?" Like, and I'm just like lost in the sauce. And he was like, "Yeah, you're selected. You're on the list for promotion to first sergeant." And I was like, "Oh, wow. I guess that they're coming out with that message now." And that's how I found out I was getting promoted to first sergeant. And
Holy cow.
I had no
Well,
idea.
I assume you were putting F on your fitness reports, right?
I had started putting F after a short amount of time on my fitness report
Yeah.
because I had tried as a gunnery sergeant and a staff sergeant to influence policy, to influence um, change in my field of occupation by what I had
Mm-hmm.
seen in Afghanistan and where, I thought things could go or how things could change, and nobody would listen.
Mm.
And like I saw other master sergeants that were, or I saw them like, at the like division or MEF level that were working there. And it was almost like they didn't have any power to influence anything. And I
Mm.
was like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And like, I want to stay around Marines. And so I started putting effort on my fit rep. Mostly because, not because I ever had a good first sergeant, but because I had a lot of bad ones. And I was like, I'm not going to be like that guy. I'm not going to be like that guy. That guy, all he did the entire time was send fantasy football emails on Monday morning. And that's the only thing I ever heard from him. Right. And so I had modeled most of what I started doing as a first sergeant off of stuff that I didn't want to do.
Right.
And I got orders to 1-3, the Lava Dogs, right after I got promoted. I got frocked in March of 2019, and that was my retirement rank. I went, I went to 1-3. They just came back from a unit deployment cycle as soon as I got there, and I got a full workup. With Alpha Company in 1-3 as a brand new first sergeant. And as soon as I showed up, I had, I think it was 20. It was in the mid-20s. It was like 25 people on legal hold. For various
Nice.
things. And within 2 months, I had processed paperwork and done, it was like 15 NJPs, battalion and company level.
Wow.
And I quickly found out that the infantry is nothing like the rest of the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
I had been around a lot of infantry in my time in the Marine Corps, but like it is completely different. They are a different breed, and the reason why they have like the strategic corporal in the Marine Corps is because of infantrymen. And that mindset kind of trickles down to other job skills and things like that. But it is the strongest in the 03 field by far. I had Lance Corporal fire team leaders. I had a Lance Corporal squad leader one time, and he was great. And I mean, I had some of the best people I've ever worked with, some of the best, most talented Marines I've worked with there. One of the Marines that was in my platoon or in my company, I processed the paperwork for him. He won meritorious staff sergeant.
Nice.
And he was on that. And then right before I had left, I had one of my platoon sergeants that was weapons platoon sergeant, and I processed him up for promotion. And that staff sergeant, he was going on the meritorious gunnery sergeant board, which anybody knows how many allocations there are. There's only one in all of third meth, right?
Yeah.
And so he bagged it, and he got that over some really talented Marines. But honest to God, that Marine is a war hero, and he deserved it. And when I was on the initial board going up, filling in for the sergeant major at the regiment, when everybody read like his citations for valor, everybody just knew that was the guy, because like you don't go and do things like that. Normal people, it seems like, don't do things like that.
Right. Yeah.
Which is why it happens, because that's just one of those things that when you see it, you know. And got promoted to gunnery sergeant. I spent a UDP going to Okinawa, and we went all over the place. During that deployment, I had the time of my life, training with the Marines, went to JWTC with them in jungle warfare. Got to do all of the things that they were doing. Ended up taking over a squad while they was doing patrols in land nav, because one of the squads got lost. I just ended up running into them. And I was really good at doing navigation. And it's really hard to navigate in the jungle. In any
Yeah.
terrain, like I've been in mountain terrain with, like pine forest mountain terrain. I've been in high alpine. I've been in desert terrain, all kinds of different mountainous regions. The hardest is the jungle, and it
Yeah.
is just it is really hard to figure out distances and go straight,
Yeah.
primarily. But yeah, it was a great time going out um, with Alpha Company during that time. When we got back, I stuck around. I stuck around for an entire workup and was with the whole new company commander and new Marines and everything. Was there for an entire workup, and then got orders and ended up going to MARSOC. And
Okay.
I spent the remainder of my time at MARSOC while I was there, and almost went to every Marine Raider battalion.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I started with I was with I was with second. Oh yeah, I was with went there with. Oh no, I went there with third, and then except for second, I didn't go to second. I went there with third to start with, and was running the company for their logistics, and then ended up getting attached to Special Operation Company Kilo, and was there. While I was there, I also got to go to the command enlisted program for senior enlisted at the Special Operations University in Tampa,
Oh, wow.
and which is a long school. And I got to rub elbows with some of the best in the business, and in SOCOM, the soldiers and sailors and airmen that work in SOCOM are the best that they have. From Green Berets, Army Rangers, Navy SEALs, PJs, and the whole lot. They're some of the best leaders I've worked with, because they only allow the cream of the crop to go there. And it's a real pleasure to work with those people, and I still keep in touch with a lot of them. And it was good. It was a good experience, learning at the strategic level how to be a senior enlisted advisor. And I came back and was with Special Operation Company Kilo for a while, and got to do some really cool and interesting things with them, and which I won't talk about. And then I went to the regiment and spent the remainder of my time at MARSOC Regiment as the regiment first sergeant. And that was where I laid my hat and retired from.
Okay.
So that brings me to here. I convinced my wife to move to Alaska because she's from Washington. On our 20th anniversary years back, I took her vacation up here, and she fell in love with it. And that was the end of the story. And I was lucky enough to get a house sight unseen, paid for, and moved here. And I spent 2 months driving from North Carolina through all of the eastern and northern states into Saskatchewan and Alberta and and through Canada. I went all the way up into the Yukon and Whitehorse, and then cut back and went into Skagway. Took the ferry from Skagway here to Juneau, and it was one of the coolest traveling experiences I've had. My kids have never been on a trip like that before, and it
Yeah.
probably was once in a lifetime thing. But it was cool. You know, you gotta stop by and do gimmicky things, and go see the world's largest cow, or
Yeah.
the world's largest beaver, or the world's largest ball of yarn knitted by one man. Things like that. And
Yeah. Yeah.
we went to as many of them as we could find.
Well, I got to be honest. I was following you on the face pages, so every time you post something, I'd go on, I'd check it out, see what you were up to. I still do because you just came back recently with your limit on salmon. So I was looking at those photos, all that stuff. And, I'm jealous.
Yeah,
But
it is I always wanted to come back to Alaska. It is the land. It is the last frontier. It really is.
Mhm.
And the Fish and Wildlife in Alaska does a really good job at preserving the wildlife and controlling commercial fishing and fishing numbers, as well as hunting
Mhm.
and those numbers. Oh, they do it a little too well, to the point where, like, black bear's overpopulated down here. I had black bear
Mhm.
walk through my yard the other day. I've been keeping an eye out for him to see if he comes through my salmonberry bushes, but I haven't seen him yet. But yeah, black bear are freaking everywhere. Yeah, and
Wow.
this area in southeast Alaska is the Tongass National Forest. It's the largest rainforest in North America, and
Huh.
there's plants that only will grow here because of the concentration of oxygen is so high,
Mm. Wow.
because of all the evergreens and stuff that grow here. But this is one of the rare days. This is the only day this is one of the 2 days this week that it has not rained. Um, so
Wow.
this is nice. I didn't go fishing today because I didn't know if I would come back in time for your podcast. So
Oh, you put the blame on me. Very
it's
nice.
okay.
Very nice.
I'll go fishing whether it's raining or not. I don't care. That's what
Yeah,
fishing gears. That's what rain gears for.
that's
But
right.
yeah, I'm going out tomorrow to get my limit because I got a secret spot I know of now, and all
Ah,
of the salmon are running there, and they are big. Some big 20-pounders that are flopping around. Oh my goodness, that is a workout pulling in a salmon that big.
oh
And
yeah.
I was trying to use like a little kid's lure to see if like I could use the one of the crappy fishing poles my kids have to see if I could
Yeah.
pull it with. It snapped the line. Yeah, it didn't work.
Wow. Well, there you go. Now you know though.
But yeah, I had to go out this morning and get another fishing pole. But the fishing out here is really good. The hunting out here is really good. I haven't gone out and gone bear hunting out here yet. Um, but I'm all about it. Some people don't like bear meat, but I mean, it's like how you cook it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
people are like, oh well, like if you eat beef like without seasoning it, you
Mm-hmm.
probably wouldn't like beef, right? It's
It's a
like
possibility. Yeah.
yeah, it's like what you do with the meat, And so
Mhm.
yeah, but I am now a stay-at-home house husband, and
Very nice.
I am working to fix this house up that we purchased, and that's what's kept me mostly busy since then. But my wife is working at a dental office in town, and
Okay.
is really enjoying that. And my My kids are going to high school and middle school right here in town. And
Very nice.
yep, that's about it. My dog Bruce is my good luck charm with fishing. I took him out, and the only time I maxed out was when I took him on the boat with me. So now I got to take him out on the boat every single time I go fishing.
Yeah, mandatory. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Very nice. Well, hey man, thanks for coming on the podcast, sharing your story, taking time out of being a mountain man to just come on here and let people know all about you and what you got going on. Man, I've got to get up there and see you. It will happen. So I'm going to be up there eventually. I just don't know when. But yeah, it's been great catching up and hearing your incredible story.
Awesome. Yeah, it was good talking to you, Andrew.
Yeah, man, we'll have to keep better contact with one another as we move through this. So through
Awesome.
life. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, to all the listeners out there, if you're struggling, need some help and anything like that, the VA has some great resources. You can always reach out, dial 988, press option 1. You can also text 838-255, or you can go to veteranscrisisline.net and click on that chat icon. Any of those are going to put you in contact with somebody that can help you out. But remember, one veteran life lost is one too many. I care about you. I know Scott cares about you. The whole veteran community cares about you. So please reach out for help. And if you're out there and maybe you're not struggling, but you might see somebody else, just as a reminder, go out and talk to people that you serve with, ask them how they're doing. And if they do need help, then please assist them in their time of need. All right, with that, Scott, one last time, thank you. I appreciate it. To all the listeners out there, stay motivated, change your thoughts.